Warning, the following audio transmission is based on theory and is intended for entertainment purposes only. It's Doomsday and its affiliates will not be held liable for anything your dumbass does. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome, everybody, to It's Doomsday podcast. Today is May 2nd, 2023. Time is 4:25 p.m. And joining me in the studio, actually sitting right in front of me, is B-Man Jay. What's going on, dude?
Not much. How you doing?
I'm doing good. You know, I don't know how many people did you tell from, like, the Clapper people that you'd be out here today?
Just in your live the other night.
I'm gonna sneak a video.
Not many.
I'm gonna sneak a video in on you later. I'm gonna like get a video of the back of your head and see if like Malcolm or someone from Clapper notices.
Sounds good.
So yeah, Malcolm happened to be in the state of North Carolina. He decided he wanted to come down to the, or not Malcolm, sorry, B-Man is in the state of North Carolina. And
Man,
decided,
don't confuse me with Malcolm.
You know, I'm imagining you're a lot taller than he is.
A lot. He's like 3 foot nothing. I'm like, a lot taller.
I mean, so when I'm watching your videos online, you look like you're about 7 foot tall.
Yeah.
I was expecting you to be towering over me when I got here. Anyway, so you're in North Carolina. You're liking it so far.
Yeah.
And I know you mentioned you were coming out here to visit a farm. There was some kind of farm you guys were checking out.
We're going to go over to Love Valley.
Love Valley. So I've never heard of that. What are they all about?
It's just a horse community, I guess. We don't really know that much other than just looking on the internet.
Gotcha.
But it's a western town, and you ride horses around the town, and there's no cars allowed in the town.
So like an old western style town?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that was a thing that was in the area.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, though. I might have to look that up later and do some checking in on that. So if you guys, a lot of you out there that are listening right now don't know who B-Man Jay is. So are you okay with talking about yourself and telling
Sure.
people who you are?
Oh, yeah.
Go for it.
I'm the B-Man J. You can look me up on thebmanj.com. We do self-sustaining at the farm. I was a beekeeper inspector for honeybees in the state of Tennessee for the last 7 years. I've kept bees probably 20, 25 years or so. I go around talking about bees. I train people in tactical response or any kind of tactical and prepping. I'm an actor. I guess you could call me an author. I've been published a couple times. Just do a little bit of everything, so people start calling me a Renaissance man. So I don't know.
That's pretty cool. So we're going to unpack a few of these things.
All right.
I wanted to unpack what all you have going on at the farm as far as self-sustainability goes. Because I see the lives, I see some of the videos, and there's a lot going on. I saw the greenhouses and everything.
Yep.
So what all do you have going on over there?
So the different greenhouses, the first one we got is, it's a low tunnel, as we refer to it, and it's through the Appalachian grant. For basically, the grant was through Berea College, and they gave us the low tunnel for free, and it's to help people start growing their own food again. And then we got the high tunnel, which is 42 by 40, and it's 19 feet tall in the center. We got that through the NRCS, which is a government program, so every state has that. And that's, again, to help people start growing their own food again. And then we built a in-ground green tunnel, or high tunnel, the last year. And so we're just trying to get a longer growing season in that, because we have banana trees, but I only get, the bananas get maybe 2 to 3 inches big. So figure maybe I could grow some banana trees inside the in-ground greenhouse, and that way it would have a longer growing season. I might actually get some bananas off it. But we grow, we have hardy Anna kiwi. We do all kinds of different food. She has a herb garden. My wife's here in the studio. She doesn't talk. But we grow probably 85 to 90% of our own food. I have honeybees, so we have some sugar. our sugar substance, and then we do buy a lot of our flour, the unbleached, unbrominated sugar or flour, so that we bake, or I don't bake. She does all the cooking because I hate cooking. That's one of the few things I don't do.
Really?
Oh yeah, I hate cooking.
So I love to cook.
I don't even like doing a barbecue.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man,
It just takes too long.
I don't know. So I find cooking to be very therapeutic, and I like to experiment with different things. And in the self-sustainability realm, I've been trying to make my own ketchups and mayonnaise and mustards and things like that. And it's not having much luck, but I'm going to keep plugging away at it. I make a mean-ass barbecue sauce, though.
There you go.
Yeah, so that's
that's
good.
why she should be speaking on here, because she makes her own ketchup. She makes her own applesauce, all that. So.
Nice. I might have to get that ketchup recipe.
Yep.
So, in realm of, so you guys doing solar out there? I'm
Yep.
assuming you're not on any city hookups, or not much anyway.
Well, we're grid tied, so that during the day I produce too much energy, so I sell it back to the power company. Then at night they just keep my batteries at a level, so I kind of buy it back from them. But overall, I'm making a little bit of money off of them. We have solar panels across the top of the house for, we have different freezers and everything else, and then we have 4 panels just for the hot water tank, because that's one of your biggest draws of your energy. I have a windmill that I have yet to put up. I've had it for about 3 years. It's in the garage. I need to put it up. It's a Missouri windmill. When I looked at it, that was like the best one that you could get, because the kick-in was very low. I think it's at 3 miles per hour. Then it goes up to like 45 miles an hour. And I have a boom pole out of an old TV van where they used to show up on site, and then they send the towers up.
Talking about, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like 40 or 42 feet tall, and it's just by air. So you turn on the air compressor, it shoots up the thing. So I was like, well, this would be perfect, because then I could put it up in the air, and while it's working, and then if I ever need to work on it, I just let the air out and it drops back down to 8 feet off the ground, and that way I'm not climbing up a 40-foot ladder.
Right, that makes sense.
Yeah,
I totally get it. So we're not fully solar yet. We've got certain solar items, and I'm trying to make that push to get there. I've looked into doing the wind power, and a lot of electricians in this area say people try and fail because we don't get high enough winds here. Which I think it's just debatable. I think it depends on where you live. If you're up high enough on a hill and you're getting consistent breezes, I think you're going to be fine. Plus, the big thing is, and I think these guys are kind of negating the idea, when you're not getting sun, it's usually because there's a storm. Storms come with wind.
Yep.
So at least you could be making up for the difference.
And also, you're going to have wind at night, where you're not going to make any solar at night.
Right. I mean, to me, it's a wind, regardless.
Nice.
Are you looking for something kick-ass to add to your closet? Reaper has the hookup for t-shirts, hoodies, button-ups, hats, beanies, and plenty of other badass products. You can check out Reaper Apparel Company at www.reaperapparelco.com and use code DOOM10 for 10% off. Jester only stands behind brands he believes in, and Dan at Reaper Apparel has a mission, and Jester is on board. Go check out www.reaperapparelco.com today and use code DOOM10 for 10% off your entire order. Why be a sheep when you can reap? Use code DOOM10 for 10% off at www.reaperapparelco.com today.
So one other thing about what you got going on, what all kind of animals do you have out there on the farm?
We're getting back into horses, so we got the Gypsy Vanner and Pasafinos, then a couple other. We have cows, so that we have food on the hoof, so you don't have to have all that food just in a freezer or in a dry state. And then we have honeybees. We had sheep, or we have sheep. We had goats. We had rabbits. We had turkeys. We had ducks. We've tried everything, and pretty just chicken. Yeah, well, we do have chickens now. We did have pigs for a while. Pigs, I do like to just buy them in the spring, raise them up through the summer, and then slaughter them in the fall. And that way you don't have to deal with breeding them over the winter and everything else, because pigs can get messy.
Right, yeah. I've been wanting to add pigs to what I got going on, and I've been looking into it. There's a breed called Duroc, and I've been having trouble finding them. Nobody in this area seems to have them.
Yep.
So I got to start looking outside of the area and figure out if that's something I really want to get into or not. I'm not sure. Right now, we got a bunch of goats that I'm actually trying to downsize. We got too many males and not enough females. So
They eat well.
they do.
That's a great way to downsize them.
I'd rather sell them and make the money off
Well,
them.
yeah, there's that too.
Yeah, so that's where I'm trying to go with it. All right, so it seems like you guys got a lot going on out there.
Oh, yeah.
So if shit hit the fan tomorrow,
Don't show up at my place unless you got ammo and food
I'll bring ammo and food.
and skill set.
So, all right, let's get into. You've mentioned before in your lives about the Karate Hall of Fame inductee. What in that you said that was in 2008?
2008 United States Martial Arts Hall of Fame inductee.
Wow. What do you have to do to get there?
Get nominated.
Oh, that's it? It's that
Pretty
easy,
much.
huh?
Yeah, that's what I thought. I wasn't even going to do it until my daughter, I think she was 10 years old or something, and she's just bugging me, Dad, you got to do it. You got to do it. Because I don't really care about the paper on the wall. It's about the knowledge that you have.
Right.
And so that's the only reason I actually went ahead and got inducted.
So what kind of martial arts were you doing?
Way back in 1979, I started with Taekwondo, and then went into karate. Or actually, no, I started with Simling Hungar Kung Fu, and then I went to Aikido. Then I went to Taekwondo, then karate. Did American Judo. Did over the years, I can't even remember which ones order they're in, but I've done Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, American Jiu-Jitsu, a couple different types of karate, 2 different types of Taekwondo, Chin Na, Tai Chi, just a bunch.
I haven't even heard of half of these things.
Yeah, most people haven't. It's whoever I could find that I thought was a good teacher, and I just wanted to learn because it's just something. It was my therapeutic, and the meditation came along with that, and the energy healing. So then I went into energy healing when I was in college. I got a degree in massage therapy, and I'm a Reiki master and all that. So,
Jesus, you've done a lot.
yeah, I have.
Yeah. So for those of you guys that don't know, B-Man J is going to be at Prep Stock this year, and he's doing a self-defense course. He's going to utilize all these things to kick my ass for you guys.
Exactly. It's going to be on video, right?
Oh yeah, I'm hoping we do get. I got to get someone there to make sure they're getting good video of that, and because what's going to happen. Everybody's going to pull their cell phones out for that, and everybody's going to post little clips on Clapper, TikTok, or whatever. But I'm really hoping to get some good footage of that to edit later or put on YouTube.
Oh, you don't want the footage where it's really good, and just as something happens, they laugh or they point the phone at the ground, or they're shaking so bad you can't tell what happened.
Yeah, we're gonna try to avoid that and actually get some really good footage from that. No, so yeah, for those of you guys that don't know about Prep Stock, I know certain people out there listening, they know this is coming October 6th through the 9th, just so everybody out there knows that this is on its way. And it's interesting because lately this is something, and I don't know if you see this online or not, but I don't know what's in the air lately, but there's a lot of new people coming out and wanting to be self-sustainable and wanting to start the prepping aspect. And I just got an email from a brand new listener to the show. He emailed me, said, Jester, I'm a brand new listener. I want to know if there's any events or anything to get started. And I said, well, let me tell you about Prep Stock. We got this coming up. So, but it's been a lot of new emails lately from people that just started listening, and they're starting listening because I think it's pretty clear that shit's hitting the fan. Things are getting really wonky. People are getting they're getting nerve-wracked. They want to feel better, so they're looking for this as a way to feel better. And
True.
I think that's why a lot of us do prepare and do prep up, is for the simple idea of, if shit happens, I want to make sure I'm okay. And putting back some food stocks or learning some skills, this is an insurance policy for yourself that if shit really breaks bad, you don't need to worry. And it's not so much this right-wing conspiracy side to this anymore. I saw a video a couple years back about this left-wing guy, and he lived in an apartment, and he's like, yeah, he was on the local news or something. He's like, yeah, we're prepping, we're doing this, we're doing that. And his biggest concern in the apocalypse was ensuring the safety of his cats. And
Well, they're like family, right?
Well, yeah, they are, but I mean, a cat's a cat. It's going to revert back to its instincts, and
Yeah.
it's going to do cat stuff, and it's going to be fine in the apocalypse. In fact, cats will probably thrive. There's a lot of people out there that theorize that the house cats and the dogs will all become feral, and they'll be running everything with the way they breed and their know-how. They'll pretty much take over, and there'll be these packs of wild house dogs roaming the country. It's an interesting thought.
Yeah, interesting. Well, the thing with prepping is, and since I was in the military back in the 80s and I got out in 90, I've always had friends that are conspiracy nuts and everything else. And some of them go way over the top. And other ones are you're like, that actually makes a lot of sense. And other ones are like, whatever. But the prepping, everybody swears, we're at that brink where it's just going to break down. It's going to be next year. And I've seen this since the 90s. So I do think we are getting closer because of the way the world is getting. It's getting crazy. You keep hearing all these strange things. But the big thing is, most people don't realize, they're like, they have all this food stacked up. What about water? Mm-hmm. You can live for 40 days without food. You can only live 3 days without water. So you have to have some way to have water. Either move closer to a stream or at least know where the streams or lakes are, and then, have something like a life straw or capability of like that so that you have clean water. Right. Because if you don't have the water, you're going to get dehydrated very quickly, and then it doesn't matter how much food you have. Right. So it's, it's all of, everybody's got their go bag or their bug out bag, whatever you want to call it, but they don't have a route from their work, their home. Most of us work outside the home much more than we're at home. You come home, but even then, if something happens and you're at work, you're 20 miles away from home, and the transportation lines most likely are going to be shut down first.
Do you have enough food in your pantry for when disaster strikes? Go to www.readywise.com and utilize code DOOM10 for 10% off your entire food order. ReadyWise offers long-term food storage items such as chicken and beef that last up to 15 years. But that's not all. Go to www.readywise.com and use our code DOOM10 for 10% off of organic food as well. Offering chili, pasta, and soups, they have you covered. Did we mention they have fruits? Bananas, blueberries, strawberries, and apples, just to name a few. With many more food options for your home, car, or bug out bag, ReadyWise has your six. Go to www.readywise.com now and utilize code DOOM10 for 10% off.
Do you know a straight line to get to your place that's not cutting through some other guy that's going to be protecting his property? How do you get home? How do you walk there? Do you have a gun? Do you have a knife? Do you have fire starter in your pack so that you can make it home to your family? Or are you going to have to get to your spouse, to their workplace, get them, then get to the school to get your kids, and then get home? So do you have all these routes mapped out, and also alternatives, because it's not going to be a straight path. Plan A never works. Plan B and C and D usually never work too.
Right. So let's unpack this a little bit, because I think you're hitting the nail right on the head, and I think a lot of people sell this short, like way too short. So let's think about a scenario. Shit hits the fan. Doesn't matter what it is. Emergency services are cut off. Okay. Everybody says, screw it. I'm going home. I'm going to go be with my family, et cetera, et cetera. Rush hour traffic is when everybody's going and coming to and from work, right?
Yep.
So as soon as shit would hit the fan, expect that to be a thing, right? And if it's bad enough, police, fire, ambulance, they're not coming. They're done. You always have accidents during rush hour, right? It's a very common thing. So now you're talking about you're trying to get home during rush hour. Nobody's regulating the roads. Nobody's showing up to accidents. So now what you have happening are these huge traffic jams. So your 40-minute commute now just became 4 hours on foot?
Yep.
I mean,
if you're lucky.
Yeah. And this is going down the same populated highways that everybody else is going to be going down.
Yep.
Right? Not to mention look, Americans are very out of shape. They can't, a lot of them could not make this journey. So now you're in a position to where you have a bunch of people that are having all these issues trying to get home. They're dehydrated. Maybe some of them are stroking out, going into cardiac arrest. having breathing problems, et cetera, begging for your help while you're trying to get home.
And your medicine, is it at home or is it in your bug out bag?
Right.
Water, is it in your bug out bag? And you mentioned being out of shape. After shit hits the fan, do you have a way to grow tobacco? Because there's a lot of people that smoke out there.
Well, so yeah, that's, I've actually been trying to get my own tobacco growing, and I've had horrible luck with getting seeds started. I have no idea what I'm doing wrong with this stuff. But that's
not good.
No, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I'm getting seeds, and I'm doing everything the internet says to start them, and they're just not coming up. I have no idea why.
And that brings up a point: is a lot of people, they have their seed packs and they're ready for the world to end, and now I'm going to start growing my own food. I always tell people, at least try to grow some of your food now, because you don't just put a seed in the ground and it pops up. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. And you can overwater it or not water it enough. And if you don't have the knowledge to put behind that, and then if, say, it hits, the world ends, in June, you've already missed most of the growing season. So now do you have enough food in place till the next spring when you can plant, and then still have enough food until you can harvest in the fall?
Right.
So you got to have at least a year and a half worth of food, at least. And that's if all your seeds work, because some seeds, they sell them to you. Do you actually know if they're germinated and they're ready, they're viable? You don't. You're just trusting that company.
Right. That's why we put 2, 3 seeds, 4 seeds in one hole, and hope one of them sprouts.
Yeah.
But,
and at least try that seed pack, because you don't know if that company's lying to you or not. I mean, that's a common practice now. It seems that a lot of companies are lying to you and they get in trouble, but it's too late.
Right. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and, so the success rate of seeds is very interesting. If you're out there, listen, you could look this up and figure this out. There are seeds that are ridiculously hard to germinate too, but think about the yield time, right?
Yeah.
You can look right on the back of a lot of these seed packs and it'll tell you like 90 days to harvest, 120 days to harvest. So you're going to be potentially starving for 3 to 4 months while you're waiting for these yields.
Yeah.
And then if you don't know how to can, if you don't know how to preserve, you're going to be going hungry waiting till next year, to get your yields again. Something I just recently did that I didn't know was a thing was I planted carrots last year, and they barely did anything. And for whatever reason, they started coming back up this year. So I said, okay, they're getting really tall, they're getting really bushy. Let me pull one of these carrots, and they weren't ready yet. But what I found out is you can eat the greens off the carrots, and you get more yield out of that than you do the carrots themselves, right? So we sauteed these things up, a little bit of olive oil, lemon, garlic. They're not bad. They're not bad at all. And I never knew this was something that was even edible until like last week.
Oh, yeah. How about dandelions?
Yeah, well,
dandelions are great.
Right.
They're medicinal. You can make them into wine. You can fry them up. You can do many things with dandelions.
Right. So my wife's Greek, so dandelions are part of their
There you
diet.
go.
So, yeah, they're always, they fry them up in olive oil with lemon, and they're fantastic.
So you're ahead of the curve there.
Yeah.
I didn't know that until just maybe, 5, 6 years ago.
Yeah.
I think my wife knew it longer than I did, but.
So it's interesting though, because they like, demonize those. I remember, being a kid, and bringing dandelions in the house, and there was the old wives' tale. If you touch those, you'll pee the bed, blah, 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 like all that stuff that they used to tell us to stay away from them. And then they're like the key weed, like on all the Roundup and bear bottles and stuff like that. It's like, these are what you don't want. These are bad.
Yep.
I mean, this is how they've trained society.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And it's
and it's one of those
pretty bad.
things, they may have done it on purpose, or they may have done it, not. And you're just trying to keep up with the Joneses next door because their yard looks beautiful. It's nothing but green grass. So you have to go hire somebody to come over there and spray and kill all the weeds in your yard because you want your yard looking just as nice as theirs. And what you're doing is you're actually killing the ground, and that goes down to the water table eventually, and then that comes back up to, in your drinks. And it's just a vicious cycle that it seems to be in.
Listen, I'm going to tell you what. So it's got to be a conspiracy in itself how much money Americans put into lawn care.
Oh wow!
I mean, you got to think
crazy
about it, man. Like, it's a lot. There's a gentleman we did an episode with not long ago. His name is Jim Gale, and he does these food forests where instead of planting a yard, they plant all these food-producing plants and trees and fruit trees and things, and they, map this out. And he's got, programs where they go all over the country and do these things. And it's like a big movement he's trying to start. The guy hates the federal government, man. He's like, I ain't paying these taxes. He's a character, man. He's an awesome guy. very, very fired up and eccentric about this, but he is like that guy that's making that difference out there to get, these things going. And when shit hits the fan, he's got that knowledge.
Yeah.
He knows how to map these things and get them going and what will grow with one another. And I saw that he's doing some kind of they're taking the shipping containers like the Connex boxes and they're making these little self-sustainable homes with solar and stuff now, and they're distributing them out. So there are people that are waking up out there, and they're getting wise to this,
Fire is one of the most basic essentials for survival. Whether you're camping, hiking, or preparing for disaster, Blackbeard has your six. Go to www.blackbeardfire.com and utilize code DOOMSDAY for 10% off your entire purchase. Blackbeard offers stormproof matches, plasma arc lighters, fire starters, and ferro rods, all of which are great for your bug out bag. Once again, go to www.blackbeardfire.com and utilize code DOOMSDAY for 10% off your entire purchase.
I think this era of, graduate high school, go to college, get an admin job, be stuck in an office all day, just have your little apartment and be happy and rely on, the big corporations for everything.
To give you a great retirement.
Right.
Now they're figured out, well, hey, if I fire these people when they're 50, I don't have to pay their retirement.
Right.
And then I can hire these young people. A lot of them aren't that, well, we'll skip that.
Right. So, the other thing about the retirement aspect, too, a lot of people are figuring out that we're retiring at too old of an age.
Yeah.
And you're dying before you get to enjoy your retirement years. And the retirement companies know that, so they're banking on you having heart problems or some kind of pulmonary issues. They're banking on this, so they don't have to keep paying out.
Yeah, years ago when I looked it up, it was probably back in the mid-'90s or late 90s, it's 34% of the people don't even make it to age 30 or 65. So 34% of the people aren't even going to get their retirement.
Right.
And then you get other people that look at that and they're like, well, then I'm just going to spend everything I got now. And then when they hit 65, they cannot retire. Right. So now they're working as a greeter down at Walmart because they cannot afford to retire. And it's like you need to start putting money away now so that you can have somewhat of a lifestyle when you want to retire. Because how many people you keep hearing about, they're eating cat food and, but now you can't even afford cat food.
No.
Cat food's expensive. Maybe that one gentleman with his, he's going to save his cats, but
right. Yeah. Maybe him.
But it's ridiculous. The prices went up so much. And so now you need to really look at putting away, at least 10% of your paycheck every time so that you can go to your retirement. And if you know you're going to die in the next 5 years because you got cancer or whatever, at least you have money to spend and quit your job and spend in the last 5 years of your life and go have fun with, other than, hey, I'm 72 years old and I still got to work because I cannot afford to quit.
Right. And a lot of people are in that position right now. Like my father's one of these people. He's in his 70s, but he can afford to not work, right? But you have a certain lifestyle. There's certain things you enjoy doing. You don't want to stop. So he'll keep a job where he's at till the day he dies, or he's in such poor health he can't do it. But he gets his Social Security retirement. He gets that full ride. He gets mineral right payouts and a couple other little things. So he doesn't necessarily need to be working. Everything he has is paid off, but it's just the idea of what else are you going to do with your time?
Yeah, and some people need to stay busy.
Yeah.
And they need to have a job to keep doing something. And I've noticed people that have no hobbies outside of their job.
Right.
When they do retire, they only live about 6 months to a year at max because it's such a abrupt stop of doing something every day, and now they have no other hobbies and they just deteriorate and they die.
Right.
And I've seen that so many times when I was working at the post office. These guys would retire and the post office was their life. And I'm like, well, he ain't gonna be around much longer after he retires. And sure enough, and it's like, man, that is horrible.
Wait, so you worked at the post office too?
Yeah, I did 25 years at the post office.
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm one of those people that hate the government, but I worked in the military, then I went to the post office, and then even my honeybee inspection job was working with the state of Tennessee. So I've worked for the government all my life.
Wow, that's interesting. So so like one thing I definitely wanted to ask you. How does the acting world feel about the self-sustainability stuff in the prepping? Because I know that this is like, it's still depicted that this is like a right-wing, crazy conspiracy thing. So how do you get work as an actor and be like, yeah, I prep and I do self-sustainability stuff?
I tell them about the honeybees, and then I leave it at that. Because honeybees are that kind of leftish, liberal thing, and we're going to save the planet.
Yeah.
Which is great, and I love doing that, and I want the planet to survive for my grandkids or great-grandkids, but I don't bring up politics, I don't bring up all this other stuff on set, because you remember Kevin Sorbo from Hercules?
Oh, God. Maybe? I don't know. I'd have to see his face.
Well, he did like 8 seasons of Hercules, and where did he go? He disappeared. The Dukes of Hazzard, I can't remember which one, the blonde guy, he disappeared. They're big conservatives. You see them working a lot? No, they're doing their own movies because Hollywood just hates them.
You talking about the new Dukes of Hazzard or the old?
No,
Dukes
the
of
old
Hazzard?
Dukes of Hazzard. He
Okay.
just disappeared. The other guy, the guy with the brown hair, he got married and he got out of Hollywood because he didn't like it. But the other guy, he's real conservative. He's doing these religious movies now. He's funding everything himself. Same with Kevin Sorbo. He's very conservative. He's doing all these movies. He's paying out of his own pocket for these movies because he cannot get a job in Hollywood because they know he's conservative.
Right.
So that's why I just don't bring up anything on set.
Yeah, don't put this on your IMDb.
Yeah.
This would be one of those career-ending things. No, but I gotta imagine that, like, with the leftist side, if you went in there, like, buzzwords would be okay. Like, the bees are okay.
Yeah.
Self-sustainability is probably okay. But whenever you'd get into the anti-government or gun rights or
I
anything
don't
like
bring
that,
up
it's
any of that.
Yeah, that's probably a heck of a no-go.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah, they I think it was just 2 or 3 weeks ago, they finally lifted the COVID measures. We were still getting tested when you went on set every day.
Wow.
Down in Atlanta, I just didn't work down there because they would want me to come down to Atlanta, which was like 3.5 hours or about 3 hours from my house.
Want to be a guest on the show? Email it's doomsdaypodcast@gmail.com. That's it's doomsdaypodcast@gmail.com.
They pay me $25 to come down the one day on Thursday to get COVID tested, come back down the next day, $75 to get fitted, and then they would pay me a whole $88 for the 8 to 12 hours a day to work on set as a background. I'm like, no, I can't afford that. $188 to drive down there 3 separate days.
No, that's not
just
even
ridiculous.
covering the gas.
No.
No.
So I haven't worked in Atlanta in probably 2-3 years.
Wow.
So
No, so I know that so COVID measures were really bad here in the bigger cities. Like out here in the rural
pretty
areas.
much everywhere in North Carolina was crazy.
Yeah.
Tennessee was real kind of lax, which everybody was complaining about.
God, if you went into the cities here are heavy blue. Okay, so there was stores I went in and they were like, no, you can't be in here because you don't have the proper N95 mask. Like that was a big thing. Like you couldn't wear a cloth mask. Like, they were selling the masks everywhere with different pictures on them and stuff.
Yep.
They didn't want those. You had to have an actual surgical N95 mask to be in some of these stores.
And that didn't even,
No.
and Bill Nye, the science guy, I hate that guy. He's not a
What's
science
wrong
guy.
with Bill, dude?
He's not a science guy. He has a degree in engineering,
Okay.
not science.
All right.
He's on there, don't tell me a paper mask doesn't stop COVID. It doesn't, because he's like, well, it would have to be wet. Well, every time you breathe out, you expel vapor.
Right.
So you're making the inside of the mask wet. And then one of the biggest things that drove me nuts about the mask was I was in the military and you were taught the proper way to don a mask. And then when you pulled it off, you folded the inside where your face was in on itself, and then you stored it. People are pulling off masks and they're hanging it from their mirror. do you realize that COVID is floating around your car and now it's on the inside of the mask and you put it right on your face?
Remember when they said something like, yeah, leave it on your dashboard. The sun will kill the COVID. Remember that shit?
Yeah. It's like, no, it's not. We were first told it could live on the surface for 10 days, but now the sun's going to kill it?
Yeah.
Well, then why don't we just have sunlight on everything?
Oh, my God. Yeah,
it was so much back and forth, and it was like you didn't know who to believe or who not to believe.
Right.
So,
so for the record, though, since this is all over, I hope everybody learned a valuable lesson from this, that mainly everybody that was saying stuff was full of shit, right? That way, if this happens again, they won't be buying into this crap.
Yeah.
And I did see that they just took the waiver away for not the waiver. They just took away the federal mandate for vaccinations.
Yeah.
So that just happened. So I don't know what that's going to entail or how they're going to spin that in the future.
Well, I think it was all a test run because there was, I think it's called the Milgram experiment. It was done by, I believe it was Berkeley, and they were trying to figure out why Hitler had so much power back in the day. So they took an actor and they introduced him to the student, and they had several people stand there, and the student would meet this actor. He didn't know he was an actor. He thought he was just another student. So they put the actor behind the wall on the other side, and then they bring the student in, and they hook him up, or they sit him down in front of this huge electrical board. And they're like, all right, so here's the deal. And the guy that's telling them what to do is in a lab coat. And he tells them, all right, so you're going to ask the person on the other side of the wall. He's hooked up to the electrodes. You ask him a question. If he gets it right, great. And if he gets it wrong, then you give him a small shock. And each time he gets it wrong, you increase the voltage, and it shocks him a little harder. So, and they were just simple questions. What color is the sky? The guy's like blue. And then it would get a little bit harder, and eventually he would answer something wrong. And they would shock him, and the guy's like, And each time he would get something wrong, and he's purposely getting the answers wrong. And he would start yelling louder and louder. And then at some point, he's yelling, just disconnect me. I'm done. I want out of here. And the guy in the lab coat is telling the student, no, it's all right. He signed up for it. And most of these students kept zapping him and increasing the voltage. And this guy's just screaming bloody murder. And at some point, he's quiet. It's all right. He probably just passed out. Just ask the question. If he doesn't answer, then shock him again. And they would still shock him. And it's because somebody in authority is telling you what to do. So that's why Hitler had all this power, because he was in a position of authority. So when the government comes out and says you need to get the vaccine, they're in a position of authority, and you're going to do it because you're looking up to these people. You're a follower. And that's where that sheeple came from,
right.
Which is crazy because you listen to the Democrats and they think the Republicans are sheeple, and you listen to the Republicans and they think the Democrats are sheeple. So we thinking about each other, so it's just crazy, And then there was a university came out and they said, Republicans, was it 43% of them thought, they believe the fake news, and it's like, no, we think it's the other way or whatever. It's just crazy. They got us arguing about nothing.
Right, exactly.
It's a divide and conquer. That's all it is.
No, I'm on the same page with you. If we get into this, we're going to be here for an hour.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I started you on politics the other night, so let's get off that.
Yeah, let's get off that. But anyway, we're about at our time frame here for recording. So, Jay, you got anything you want to add for the people out there that are listening?
Be prepared, no matter what it is. Prep food, definitely have a long-term supply of water. Get a gun and prepare yourself with it. Do a lot of dry training. You don't have to shoot bullets down range. Do dry training with an empty magazine. Throw the magazine in and out of the gun. Bring it up on target. They sell some great interactive targets now that actually you can use it with your phone. It'll tell you where you're hitting. Get trigger time on your gun. They make Snapcats. They make all kinds of stuff. So just be prepared for anything, because and also get a ham radio. You don't have to get the license, but you should, because when the hurricanes hit the different coast, all the cell towers get knocked out too, and EMS and police, everything else, they rely on the ham operators to let people know where they need help, because the ham radios do not go down.
This is an emergency action message. At approximately 1 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, NORAD is tracking 15 ICBM nuclear missiles inbound to the following cities: Orlando, Miami, Pittsburgh, Dover, Newark, Richland, Philadelphia, New York City, Baltimore, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, Boston, Seattle, Detroit. This is an extremely deadly situation. Stay tuned. The next emergency message will be a presidential address.